I'm Craig O, and join me on my adventures with Craig O's cryptocurrency as we cover the blockchain, Web3, NFT, and cryptocurrency technologies. Interviewing the best in the industry, giving tips and tricks, and also sharing with you projects that I'm most excited about. You're watching Craig O's Crypto Corner, the best in Web3, blockchain, NFT, and cryptocurrency technology. The New England Patriots have said Adrienne cannot be stopped. The Tan Union has called her the representative of women's professional football. Today, I am honored and grateful to be here with Adrienne Smith, an elite athlete, actress, writer, and producer. She has appeared in the acclaimed Netflix series Orange is the New Black. She was also hosted the TV show in Japan and developed several film and television projects. Her impressive career as a professional athlete has won her 2 gold medals, 2 national championships in women's tackle football. There is no doubt, as a star wide receiver for the Boston Renegades, she is one of the best performing wide receiver in all of women's football. Don't just take my word for it. Adrienne's resume speaks for itself. She is a graduate of Washington University, and she also went on to Columbia Business as a graduate, where she earned her MBA in media and entertainment. Adrienne has worked extremely hard to launch and maintain her businesses. We will discuss the following. Gridiron Queendom. Her work on and off the football field encourages young women to get involved in sports and stay active while building on their physical and mental fundamentals. Blitz Champs is a fun game of competitive card which is based on American football. Blitz Champs is a game of strategy that also benefits reinforcing math skills. And the one that I'm really excited to talk about is Gridiron Queendom NFT collection. We will go into detail on the roadmap, its real-world applied value, and how a portion of all sales benefit young women in football and athletics. If you have never purchased an NFT and you want purpose to step into the Web3 space to capture your first digital asset, this could be the one. Welcome, Adrienne. How are you?
Wow, thank you so much, Craigo. I'm doing very well. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. And so let's just start off. How does Gridiron Queendom and Blitz Champs fit into your NFT collection? What was the inspiration for it?
Right. So Gridiron Queendom is a company I started in 2013. It was a way for me to give back to the sport of football, which has given so much to me in life. As you mentioned, from traveling the world to play tackle and flag football to winning gold medals to winning national championships, football has just been an amazing part of my life. I've met women who have the same passion for the sport from around the world, and Gridiron Queendom was my way to say, hey, you know what? There's this camaraderie, there's this sisterhood globally, and we're all fighting the same battle in terms of establishing ourselves in the sport of football and progressing. So I want to create an entity that will help with that. So Gridiron Queendom's sole purpose is to empower, is to support, is to promote and market women and girls around the world who play either tackle football or flag football. Now,
Got it.
under the umbrella of Gridiron Queendom, in 2015, I actually created Blitz Champs. So it's a super fun card game. I always have a deck near me at any given time. It's a super fun card game, kind of like the football version of Uno. That was my way of bringing the strategy, the competition, the fun that I experienced on the football field. I was able to bring that to the home and to the classroom. And so those two entities are really what propelled me into the NFT space.
I love it. And I think there's going to be a lot more entrepreneurs like yourself and also businesses that are going to hop into the Web3 space to digitize what it is that they're doing on the blockchain. And you are on the Cardano blockchain, which I think is really friendly on gas fees. And your NFT can be purchased with ADA. And we'll go a little bit more into that shortly. Tell me about your work on the football field, because off the football field, that's where Blitz was inspired. Blitz Champs was inspired to bring it into the classroom. But tell me about your work on the football field with young girls and athletics, and why you're so passionate about this.
Right. I think a mantra, a saying that has been become very popular in probably the last couple years is representation matters. So I would say that the biggest thing that I'm doing right now is existing as an elite female football player. It's being on the field. It's making those catches. It's supporting my teammates. It's helping the Boston Renegades pursue our what hopefully will be, fingers crossed, Craigo, our 7th national championship. It'll be our way of besting the New England Patriots. Shh, don't tell Mr. Kraft I said that. But so it's really just serving as that role model, showing girls that there is a path for them in football. It doesn't just have to end in middle school. You can continue to play at the high school level, and flag in particular, especially now that we have football scholarships, flag football scholarships being offered to girls who are seniors in high school to play at the collegiate level. So that's something that was just instituted in 2021.
Now, I went through YouTube and I found the Boston Renegades. I watched a bunch of videos. You had some really good music to it, and I have to tell you, it's not something that I often think of, but now that I have a daughter, it's personal for me, and making sure that she has role models like yourself. When she's ready to step, hopefully, into athletics, I would love that. I used to be a distance runner, so that would be fun to share some athletics with her. But I want to support her in that journey. To If she came home and said, "I want to play football," that's a conversation my wife and I had the other night, and I was like, I would support that. And I think it's making things that are might seem foreign to others, that they become normal. And in this case, I think that's great. You also threw out a number to me when we had our initial conversation, which was 1960. Can you tell everybody what 1960 represents as comparison to men's and women's football?
Right. So I tell people, because you're not alone, Craigo. Like, most people are not aware just yet about the prevalence of girls and women in football. So I tell people that women's tackle football right now is where men's tackle football was in the 1960s. So in the 1960s, you had the AFL and the NFL, two professional men's tackle leagues that were operating simultaneously. And it was during that time that the owners of each league, I can't recall exactly what their names are, but they decided, you know what, it would behoove us to combine our leagues, to have a singular national league. And that's what gave birth to what we now know is the National Football League, the NFL. In the same way, in women's tackle football today, there are two major leagues. There's the WFA, the Women's Football Alliance, which is the league that the Boston Renegades and I play in. And there's also the WNFC, the Women's National Football Conference. And at this point, both leagues are operating at the same time. Like, we're in season right now. We go through April through summer. And we'll see. My fingers are crossed that in the same way the men did in the 1960s, we can find a way to have a unified national league for the women as well.
And that way there's possible growth ability for sponsorships, because there's more power in numbers. So let me throw this next question at you. As you have already garnered two gold medals, two national championships. What is it that you want to accomplish that's left in your athletic career on the football field before you retire?
Right. That's a great question. So just to be clear, it's two gold medals and four national championships with the Boston Renegades.
You know, by
Uh,
Google research, what happened? Okay,
I
this is
don't know.
four national championships. Okay.
Four national championships. The Boston Renegades, we won six total. I've only contributed to four with the team. And
Mhm.
what? Well, anyway, what would I like to continue or contribute before retiring? More. That's it. Just more. I want to continue playing this sport as long as I'm able to compete as at an elite level. And in doing so, again, I feel as if my teammates and I, whether it's on the national team, whether it was on with the Boston Renegades, we are continuing to carve that pathway to make it more smooth for the younger women and the girls coming behind us. And that's my goal. So it might be in terms of you ask about retiring from the game. I don't know if I necessarily ever see that happening, because for me, Gridiron Queendom, my commitment to women and girls in this sport is everlasting, and that's something that's a mindset that I bring into the NFT space as well. I'm not here for some quick flip. Like, let me try to make 7 figures and run off to some island somewhere. No, I foresee myself as a thought leader, as someone who's putting the time and effort in to determine how NFTs can be used as a business model to help grow women in sports.
Well, I think your second collection, and again, a greater amount of the proceeds go to that, and I hope the research was correct, but a greater amount of the proceeds go to the foundations, and we're going to get to that shortly. How did the Green Iron Queendom NFT collection come about initially? What was the inspiration for it?
So I tell people the reason why I've had so much success in my career. People say, "Oh, the championship rings, the medals." The reason I've had so much success is because I've been surrounded by phenomenal teammates and phenomenal coaches and staff. That's the only way. Football is a huge sport. There are 22 specialized people, 11 on offense and 11 on defense. If everyone is not playing their role perfectly and in harmony with the others, you just do not win. So whereas I might have these rings up here and rah rah, it all comes down to a team effort. And that's the same concept that got me into the NFT space. I had phenomenal people around me. I had people who were into NFTs, cognizant of Web3 prior to my knowledge of that. And they spoke to me. They said, "You know what, Adrienne, your Blitz Champs card game, the cards themselves, the illustrations, the artwork involved in the game could really lend itself well to the NFT space." And Craig, it wasn't like, oh, immediately I jumped on that because I'm busy doing other things. I'm working out. I'm trying to reduce that body fat percentage that we talked about. Trying to work on my 40 time, make sure these hands are right so I can just snatch balls with my eyes closed in the dark in a blizzard. So it took me a while. It took me about a year for me to just finally get into a place where I was like, okay, all right, let me listen to what you all are saying, break it down for me. And then when I realized the opportunity and saw this as just kind of a nascent space, a space where kind of the rules and regulations that may be in place with some of the more traditional forms of media, those don't exist, and hopefully they never will. Hopefully this will truly be a decentralized space where people can gather, participate, and do positive things regardless of gender, race, socioeconomic status.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very inclusive space that offers exclusive opportunities for those that hop into certain projects. So it kind of brings me perfectly to my next question for you. If there was one thing about your collection that would compel somebody to get involved, what would that one thing be? I mean, I know there are many, but if there was one thing that came to the top of your mind.
That is a great question.
Can
I
I throw
think,
one at you? Can I throw one at you?
sure, sure. I have an answer, but go ahead. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm just throwing it just because right, this is our conversation. I'm gonna throw to you. It's about the proceeds and that it benefits women's athletics. Yes, there will be opportunities to make money, and I'll let you speak to that. But that's my thought on it as I read through your roadmap. But please tell me.
Well, I think what I was going to say is an offshoot of that. Yes, the proceeds are going to help women and girls, but I think it's the value behind it. And when I'm speaking of value, I'm not talking about monetary value. I'm talking about the wherewithal to affect real world change. And so, what I've seen thus far in the NFT space is there seems to be a lot of NFTs are created, really cool artwork, but it's almost like we're in this specialized membership club and we're cool because our NFTs are expensive. And that's the only value proposition that a particular collection has. What I want Gridiron Queendom in the NFT space to stand for is true community activism, truly changing and positively affecting a community of people. So I guess that ties into the proceeds that you're saying. But these collections that I'm creating, It's to have real world impact, IRL events that are going to get girls in football clinics, that are going to assist women in playing in football tournaments and assist women's football leagues. So I think that's the difference. It's not necessarily just going to sit in the Web3 space. There will also be real world impact. And for
Yeah.
me, that's extremely important.
No, that's perfect. And I guess that's pretty much what I meant, is that how the proceeds are going to go to benefit exactly what you spoke about. So I agree with you 100%. Um, so the collection was inspired. So are the same cards that are in Blitz Champs, which are the physical card game, are those the same cards that are in the NFT collection, for those that don't know?
Right. So the Genesis collection is the passing touchdown. That's our OG collection. And the passing touchdown is a card from the game. And that card is actually based on an actual photo of me during the flag football world championships in Canada. And so it's a photo of me, the NFTs of me jumping up to catch a football at its highest point to score a touchdown. And I chose that card as the Genesis collection because it's so symbolic, Craigo. Like, it really is, it's aspiring to girls and women leaping into a new industry, leaping into a new atmosphere, pursuing the best that they can be, achieving greatness. And that's what I want the passing touchdown collection to reflect. And it's the entryway, it's the beginning of Gridiron Queendom collections going forward.
Okay. And before you launched your NFT collection, you spoke at the International Women's Blockchain Conference. How was this helpful in getting more involved in the Web3 space? And how was it being around so many powerful women that were starting to acclimate to Web3 and the blockchain?
The International Women of Blockchain Conference was absolutely fantastic. And one thing I'm also positioning myself as, I'm new. All right. I'm a newbie. I'm an upstart in this. And I'm willing to take the chance to fail, to learn, and to be vulnerable and let people know that I don't know everything, but I'm willing to do the work to learn as much as possible. And the International Women of Blockchain Conference was a way to do that. You have to network in this space. It's all new. We're creating it as we go along, which is why I'm glad you and I connected, Craigo, because it's the same way. We're sharing ideas, we're sharing different aspects and insights, and by doing that, you learn. And so for me to be among other women who had the same passions, who had the same interests in blockchain, it was everything. I walked away with relationships and the ability to rely on the skill sets and the knowledge of other women in the same way that they can call upon me.
I love that. And a quick shout out to Superworld, Rish Latlakar and Devin Vert, who connected us directly together to make this interview happen. I had reached out to him and I said, who are some dynamic women that you know in this space? Because I want this to be more common amongst everyone. And I want this space to be more inclusive. And I'm very passionate to see that that happens. The roadmap concerning Gridiron NFT collection is, it's easy to read, direct and to the point, and it does not overpromise. Um, as we spoke of your collaboration with Superworld. So as of March 8th, when you launched your NFT collection, and correct me if I'm wrong, 10% of the net proceeds from the primary sales were donated to the Gridiron Girls Foundation by your friend, Dr. Jen Welter. She was the first female coach in the NFL. Is that correct?
That's correct. So, Jen Welter and I, we've been teammates since 2010. We were on the first ever U.S. women's national tackle football team together. She's a phenomenal woman, phenomenal athlete, all 5 feet 2 inches of her. She packs a lot of power in that small frame as a linebacker. And, she and I hit it off. And then we were on the national team again in 2013, and it was a couple of years later where she had been coaching on the men's side of the game for a bit, and then in 2015 she was selected by Bruce Arians, at the time who was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals, to be a coach on his staff, which was amazing. I mean, she literally shattered a glass ceiling. She likes to call it a grass ceiling. She shattered a grass ceiling
Love it.
by becoming the first ever female NFL football coach. And by breaking that door down, now we've got coaches such as Jennifer King, who's coaching for the Washington Commanders, Coach Lori Locust, who's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it really opened up a pathway for other women to follow. And in doing that, again, Jen Welter, she wanted to give back even more, so she founded Gridiron Girls, which is her nonprofit organization that she uses to travel around the country providing free flag football clinics for girls ages 6 to 17. So what I'm looking to do, as I said before, Craigo, this for me, NFTs, Web3, the entire metaverse can be an extension of the good that can be done in real life. I want to use this space to continue to build upon that. So proceeds from the passing touchdown collection, 10% of that will be donated to her charity, to Gridiron Girls.
It's a word that I often hear, and it was of March of 2021 when my good friend hopped on a Google Hangout with me, and he showed me NFTs, and he said, "Craig, the one thing that I want you to think about, whether it's cryptocurrency or especially these digital assets, these NFTs, is utility." And so I want to be really clear as we go down the next 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to talk about your unlocking of utility, and I think the value of your second collection. So I'm going to run into that with you, right? So the second collection, I believe, is going to be announced in May of 2022, where it will be launched. And the second collection, you're going to be teaming up with a well-known brand. I'd love you to kind of hint to that, but I know you can't give it away. You were very adamant about that. And
Right.
then, correct me if I'm wrong here, 25% of all Gridiron Queendom NFT net proceeds from primary sales will be donated to organizations such as the Gridiron Girls, the Boston Renegades Foundation, and the Utah Girls Tackle Football League. So let's digest those two. Let's first, if we can, start off with any hints on the well-known brand, because I have a feeling when you talk about networking, you, like me, we're both very well connected. We're very social. So I have no doubt that you've got a big company on board or a big brand on board ready to back your NFT collection. By the way, I must say, I love the fact that your project is doxed, which means that you are fully identified for those that don't know. And I love the artwork on the collection. So those are two like check boxes. So why don't you tell me a little bit, or hint to us a little bit about who is the special, anything that you might be able to give a little snippet that creates some excitement for my viewers.
Right. So this is you're kind of putting me in the hot seat here, Craigo. You know how it is. But yes, so this particular sponsor, they aren't new to the game. And more specifically, they aren't someone just jumping on the 50th anniversary of Title IX bandwagon to say they support women in sports. So this is a company that I've had a relationship with for several years now. And again, I keep saying this. This is, the NFT space isn't a quick hit for me. It isn't a quick hit for Gridiron Queendom. I'm envisioning this as a full extension of the brand. We are now operating in a new space. So I'll just leave it at that.
I love that.
This
No,
the
no,
sponsor isn't new, and yeah.
I put you on the hot seat, Adrienne. And you know what? I like it. They're not new to the space. They're not coming here to try to play or pretend. And you've developed a relationship with them over the past few years. So those little three tidbits for me is more than good enough. I didn't expect for you to give that away. No way. That would be impossible. But I wanted our viewers to understand just how solidified you are in this game. So let's talk about the 25% going to the net proceeds. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then we're going to head a little bit into unlocking as well.
Right. So with the passing touchdown collection, the Genesis collection, I earmarked 10% of proceeds going towards Gridiron Girls. That's just because this is, the beginning of starting this whole infrastructure, just getting everything off the ground. So I did need, a majority of the funds to actually go into paying the people who've helped me get thus far and setting things up for the future. So with the second collection that we will are scheduled to announce in May, I'm able to allocate a greater amount of the proceeds to these charitable organizations. Again, the whole reason I am bringing Gridiron Queendom into the NFT space is because I do feel as if it's a way that there is a new business model that can be created to help support women in sports. That's it. So whether it's Gridiron Girls, whether it's the Boston Renegades Football Foundation, or the Utah Girls the Utah Girls Tackle League, which is an amazing league that's been around for, oh my goodness, it must be like, could be like 6, 7, 8 years now. And it's the only all girls, full on, full kit, helmet, shoulder pads, tackle league in the United States, just strictly for girls. And I want to continue to support that because I know through Gridiron Queendom that there are girls in other states around the country who want to play tackle football. And, at this point, their only option is to play with the boys at their middle school or high school. But if we were able to actually be able to have finances available to promote and support programs so that fully all female girls tackle leagues could exist, that's something that I believe would be adopted very quickly.
I love it. And I read a lot of white paper, a lot of roadmaps, just as I'm thinking about projects that I'm getting into, the conversations that we have. And you said something that I thought was really important. And I come to this space very humbled and always learning each and every day. One of the things that I hadn't really heard about was the unlocking. And then when I thought about the unlocking and utility combined, I was like, I love this. So in June and July of this year, with the second edition, those that own within your NFT collection will be able to unlock code in print 3D versions of their NFTs. They'll be able to unlock and create wearable versions of their NFTs with jerseys. And then they will also qualify to get a life-sized version of their NFT created and shipped to them. I mean, talk about creative, talk about utility, talk about value. Those three things, I was like, wait a minute, because I kept digging, right? I wanted to make sure that we came on and talk about this collection because I think it's powerful and I think what you're doing in the space is powerful. But talk to me about the unlocking of utility and those three things that I just mentioned.
Right. So this circles back again to, if I can use an analogy of being on the football field, Crego, and we need a touchdown, and my coach will call a certain play. I won't tell you what the play is because we do have a game coming up. We're in season, but the coach will call a certain play. Everybody on offense will know what's about to happen. I'll look at my quarterback, Allison Cahill, who's the best, and she and I will connect and we'll do something magical and we'll score. It's because I have a phenomenal team around me. So when we're talking about in the NFT space, the creativity behind the unlocking utilities with these NFTs, it's because I have a phenomenal Web3 team led by Mr. Sasha Santiago. And he and I sitting down, coming up with different ways, because again, this should be fun, right? Football is fun. Gridiron Queendom is fun. Blitz Champs is fun. So while we're looking to use NFTs as a business model to generate support and funding to help promote women in sports, we also want it to be fun. So again, not getting into specifically who this sponsor is, but the types of NFTs we're going to be creating lend themselves to generating physical objects. So whether it's you want to print the 3D version of your NFT, or be in a position where we'll actually create a life-size version of it. These are fun things that we want to bring to the Gridiron Queendom NFT community.
I love it. And I think there are a number of projects this past year, and I didn't want them, I don't want to say they were fads, but there were a lot of women's projects that the, the Ethereum price on the Ethereum blockchain, I was noticing were going up and exploding. I feel like this is one of these projects that you have put so much passion and love behind, and its IRL value, its utility, its unlocking mechanisms, especially with the second collection, more going towards the purposeful things that you do on and off the field to inspire young women throughout. I'm going to make sure that in our show notes that we have all the appropriate links so that people can click on and look at the collection. Why don't you talk to me about how somebody would go about, very simply, because I know that for those that are not in this space, and I try to speak to the newbies, the intermediates, and then also my alphas, and we talk a lot about collections when they talk about sweeping a floor and making a collection value go up. Talk to us about how they would get involved, what wallet, how they get to the blockchain. Just a few minutes of that, not to overcomplicate for our listeners.
Right. So we're doing something a bit different. We are on the Cardano blockchain, and we're actually working with a company called Sync Energy, so SYNK.energy, because they've created a way to mint NFTs that are not only carbon neutral, but carbon negative. So that was also something important to me, is that I wanted to, have a positive effect on the environment. So what you can do is we would need the NFT community member to have a native ADA wallet. So we're using ccvault.io. So you would just need to get an ADA wallet. And if you go to giqnfts.com, you can see the address to which you would send us the 300 ADA. And then we will send you directly to your ADA wallet. We will send you the NFT that you've purchased.
I love it. So, two-time gold medalist, four-time national champ with the Boston Renegades. Adrienne Smith, it was an honor to have you on today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Crego. I appreciate you so much.